At the campsite, my girlfriend Emma's friend Michael draped his coat over her legs, concerned. "It's that time of the month. Don't catch a cold." Instantly, all eyes around turned to me, including hers. I nodded. "So sweet. I'm shipping it. Why don't you two announce it publicly right here?" I took the high-speed train to where Emma was on a business trip to celebrate her birthday. Leaning against the window, I saw a pale and thin face showing no signs of excitement or joy. Actually, we'd been in a Cold War for a month. During the May holiday, Emma went trekking in Wales with Michael. I was furious, and Emma was also impatient. "I asked you. You were the one who didn't want to go, and it's with other travelers, not just the two of us." It wasn't until yesterday that I took the initiative to message her, asking what she wanted for her birthday gift. It's always been like this between us. Arguments, conflicts. It's always me who breaks the silence first, who gives in first. It seems that if I don't make the effort, we will truly fall apart. I use my flesh and blood to love her, forging her heartlessness and lightness. She only needs to stand there, be herself, and can easily ignite me and then shatter me. I am truly humbled to the dust. Over the years, I've grown accustomed to it. She replied to me instantly, wanting to see me. If it were the past, just her replying so quickly would be enough to lift my spirits for the whole day. After all, she usually replies to my messages very slowly. She can shower all night, eat all day, and be sleepy by 8 in the evening. But this time, she replied instantly, as if she had been staring at her phone waiting for me. But I didn't feel any joy, more of a numb indifference. After getting off the high-speed train, I took a taxi to her hotel. That night, she opened her laptop, saying we should watch a movie that I recommended before. 10 minutes into the movie, her phone rang. The vibrating screen clearly lit up with Michael. She didn't hide it at all, openly answering the call in front of me. I pressed pause, waiting for her. Half an hour, then another half an hour. I glanced at the time in the bottom right corner of the laptop, 23:58. She was still on the phone, her expression relaxed, showing no intention of stopping. I pressed play again. I'd actually already seen this movie once. The fluorescent light from the laptop screen reflected on my face. I took 3 days off, rode the high-speed train for 4 hours, traveling all day just to accompany her to watch a movie I'd already seen. But at the stroke of midnight on her birthday, she talked on the phone with Michael for an hour, completely ignoring me. At this moment, my heart was as calm as a deep, still sea. No resentment, no anger, no sadness, no impatience, just calm. There was even a trace of, "I knew it all along," smugness. How? What's so surprising? Michael. This name that has been grating on my nerves for a long time. He has always been more important than me. I've known this for a long time. The strange thing is, I don't seem to care anymore. Halfway through the movie, she sat back down beside me. "James, what happened in the beginning?" We were just at a tense and exciting scene, and I was absorbed in the movie, not really in the mood to deal with her. I just casually answered, "Yeah." After a while, she said again, "Were you even listening to me? What on earth is Emma trying to do? Will she let me watch the movie or not?" "It's really annoying," I interrupted her. "Watch it properly." The credits scrolled up on the screen. The movie ended, and I stretched and got up to wash up. When I finished wiping my face with a towel, Emma was still sitting there, motionless. I knew that she was angry, but I also knew that she probably wasn't that angry. Putting on this act was just to force me to coax her. If it were the past, I would have suppressed my own unhappiness, carefully observing her expression, gently coaxing her. "Baby, it's my fault. Baby, look at me." She would then condescend to glance at me, asking, "Do you know what you did wrong?" I've always been very afraid of her gaze, especially when I'm emotionally distraught. We've argued many times because of Michael. At first, she would argue, saying that they were nothing, just friends like brothers. Every time. Later on, she would just stop talking, quietly watching me. That gaze was clear and condescending, like fragments after firecrackers explode, jumping in the air and hitting my face, slapping my cheeks, making me both hysterical and ashamed. I was the one who was pathetic. I was the clown. I don't even dare to recall what I looked like in those moments. I'm afraid my self-esteem would collapse. I look down on myself. No wonder she's become annoyed. Now, as she wishes, I'm an emotionally stable boyfriend. So stable that I can't be bothered to coax her. I hung up the towel, changed into my pajamas, and nodded to her. I'm going to sleep first. Ian transferred to our company, and there are some work matters I'm handing over to him. For the first time ever, she actually took the initiative to explain. "I know," I heard. I interrupted her calmly. "You were talking about work." "I understand." She glanced at me and pursed her lips. "Today's my birthday, James." I smiled at her. "All right, happy birthday." The cake hasn't been eaten yet. I paused. It's too late. Let's do it tomorrow. I turned off the bedside lamp, pulled up the quilt, and lay down comfortably. I had barely turned over when I heard a bang, a loud door slam. It was her birthday. She took the initiative to explain, but I didn't wait for her to watch a movie, didn't coax her, didn't eat cake with her. She was really angry. The next day I woke up and unsurprisingly she was gone. I checked my phone, and there were no messages from her. I knew a new round of Cold War had begun. In the past, I was always tormented during this kind of abrupt silence. I would hold on, until eventually I would break down late at night, sending her frantic messages, apologizing, begging for reconciliation. But today, I actually felt a sense of relief, like a burden had been lifted. I no longer painstakingly scrutinized myself, reflecting on what I'd done wrong, how I should apologize to her. I lay in bed, casually browsing my phone for a while. When I got up, I didn't even use hair wax. I was no longer trying to cater to her preferences, putting myself into a suit to seem mature and composed. Instead, I changed into a loose, comfortable hoodie, ready to go out for a walk. If it had been before, I would still have hesitated. Whenever I came to a new city, I always thought of waiting for her to have time to go to the popular spots together. Now, though, I felt like taking a walk alone wouldn't be bad. As I wandered, I turned into what looked like a brand new internet cafe and logged into the honor game. A dazzling return gift pack popped up on the screen. Actually, I was pretty good at gaming. I'd even done some coaching during college, and had been called a pro. But Emma didn't like me gaming, saying I was immature. After graduation, I rarely played. After claiming the gift pack, I saw my friend's ID on the game's recommended list. Back then, he'd always asked me to carry him, calling me his master. Now, he was a top 3 live streaming star in the honor game. I was filled with envy. He had steadily gone from a newbie to building his own world in his field. Emma had also changed jobs twice, getting promoted and a raise. Her salary was already twice mine, and me? These past few years after graduation, wherever Emma went, I followed, taking it easy, stagnating in the same place. Now, even I thought I was being too much of a doormat. Emma, she used to be my life goal, the star I revolved around, my forever first choice. I was stubbornly convinced that she was the one. So as long as she had better opportunities, I was willing to follow her to one unfamiliar city after another without hesitation. I wanted to marry her. I'd even imagined more than once that someday we'd have a bright and clean home. Our home. My name is James, hers is Emma, and our child could be called Jamie. But year after year, whenever I mentioned marriage, she would always evade the topic. Looking back now, these years I really have been a complete failure. Our relationship is teetering on the brink. I've poured out so much unilaterally, only to get more indifference and be taken for granted in return. And career-wise, I'm just as stagnant, unable to find any direction. I can't go on like this. I mustered my courage and clicked Start Live Streaming, filling in my profile information. Congratulations, you've become an honor game streamer. That day I started my first live gaming stream. There were less than 10 people in my room, but I was very relaxed and happy, gradually getting my touch back. It felt great. I didn't really care that she hadn't sent me a message or returned to the hotel all day. That night, I was adjusting my phone stand, ready to start streaming, when suddenly a message popped up from the Share Happiness. Run from Trouble group that never had anyone talking. Emma posted a picture. It was a cake with heart-shaped candles. Emma, it's been a while since it's been this lively. Michael, you had too much to drink tonight. Be careful on the road. The 2 messages appeared almost at the same time. I understood. Emma had sent this for me to see. She wanted to provoke me. I always minded her contact with Michael, even more so on her birthday. Was she still expecting me to call her? One call after another, accusing her emotionally? Or would I impulsively rush to the scene, ignoring all pride, and pull her away publicly? How could that be possible? I set the group chat to Do Not Disturb and smiled at the camera. Welcome everyone to my live stream. On the last day of my vacation, I was packing my luggage when I received a call from Emma. What time is your train? I'll take you. Her tone was normal, as if we never had a confrontation. No need. I'll go myself. I subconsciously refused. What time? She insisted. I'm already at the station, I lied, feeling a bit awkward. But I knew that saying this would definitely stop her from coming. She hated trouble the most. When we had just started dating, I jokingly said, "Could you also see me off at the train station or pick me up once?" She laughed at me, saying how a grown man could be so sentimental. She never picked me up or dropped me off. But a year ago, when Michael returned to the country, she went to pick him up at the airport. I was also very angry at the time and used her own words to confront her. Didn't you say that going back and forth to the airport to pick someone up is a waste of time and very foolish? She just gave me a cold glance. Don't be jealous. I'll pick you up in the future, too. Is that okay? In an instant, her words were like knives piercing me, and my pride was ripped open, left to rot in the wilderness. After that, I never mentioned being picked up or dropped off again. Right now, I never would have imagined that she would say, "Then wait for me. I'm going to the station now." I looked at my phone, almost unable to believe it was her who said that. Emma valued efficiency. In her eyes, spending several times the time to rush to the station to see someone for a few minutes would be meaningless. After a long pause, I replied, "Okay," I rushed. Managed to arrive at the station before Emma did. But she wasn't alone. Beside her was a tall man wearing gold-rimmed glasses, elegant and refined. Emma couldn't get a taxi for a while, so I gave her a ride. Michael nodded at me. Emma stood shoulder to shoulder with him like a perfect couple, making me seem redundant. In the past, even if I didn't show it on my face, I would be very concerned in my heart, feeling challenged. I would have been unable to resist arguing with him. But at this moment, there were no ripples in my heart. It's just a name. It's just for being called. It doesn't matter what it is. Dropping someone off at the station was indeed commonplace. I greeted him calmly. "Okay, thanks for your trouble." Emma stared at me silently, took a step closer to me. I then noticed that she was wearing a very thin new necklace around her neck, sparkling with tiny diamonds. So that's what's going on. She spoke as if she had just noticed my gaze and smiled. "The necklace isn't bad, right? Michael gave it to me." Michael also smiled. "It's good you like it then." His tone changed. "It's a pity that I bought it in a rush. It was a temporary thing. I'm afraid it can't compare to the gift James prepared. But I still don't know what gift James prepared for Emma." Emma was also staring at me intently. Actually, I had also given her a necklace before. I saved up 2 months' worth of salary and chose one from a brand that claimed, "A man can only gift one necklace in his life." She never wore it, and later even listed it on eBay, saying that it would be better to just transfer the money. I never chose any gifts after that. Didn't get one. I nodded at them. "Excuse me, it's time. I need to go through security. You guys carry on. I have to leave you now." On the high-speed train, I put on my headphones. Unlike the confused and empty state of mind I had when I came, I was full of drive. I had downloaded videos from Livestream Academy beforehand, and was ready to study them carefully. I accidentally hung up on a call, a missed call from Emma. What else could she want? I hesitated for a moment but still didn't call her back. This would have been impossible before. I would have called her back immediately, explaining why I missed her call. But now I've come to terms with it, and there are more important things. Let her think what she wants. It's fine. When it was almost time to arrive, I didn't expect Emma to call me again. "James, why didn't you answer my call?" I missed it. What's up?" "It was just a coincidence that I bumped into Michael today. I didn't intend to bring him with me. I also brought a cake. I originally wanted to eat it with you. I really just wanted to see you off." I was very emotional for a moment. Emma actually took the initiative to call me twice just to explain such trivial things. In the past, when I questioned her, got angry at her, asked her for reasons and explanations, she would always remain silent. She would only stare coldly at me, then drop a "you're annoying" and leave. "It's okay. Michael already said." She seemed like she wanted to say something, but I quickly cut her off. "I'm getting off the car. I'll talk to you later." After hanging up, it vaguely occurred to me that this was probably the first time in a long time that I had hung up on her first. After going back, I worked during the day and streamed at night, living a very full life. I didn't even notice when she came back. It wasn't until after 12 when I finished my stream and saw the living room light on that I realized she was sitting on the sofa. Her suitcase was still next to her, and she looked up. "Don't you remember the day I was coming back?" I rubbed my nose. "Sorry, I've been a bit busy lately." I understood her discomfort. Her job often required business trips, so I used to especially cherish the time I spent with her. I would count down the time, waiting for her to come back. I would also buy flowers, fresh fruit, and snacks beforehand, and put them in the living room, afraid she would be hungry. Now, the living room table was completely empty. I had really forgotten everything. But even if I remembered, I wouldn't bother making any preparations. It was too cheesy. She looked at me, hesitant, and then said, "You're doing game streaming?" "Yeah." I poured myself a glass of water. She had always disliked me playing games, and I was prepared to be lectured. But she said, "That's good. If you like it, you can try it." I glanced at her in surprise, and then I suddenly noticed that the necklace she was wearing was the one I had given her. She lowered her eyes and said softly, "I returned the necklace Michael gave me." I yawned. Streaming was very demanding, and I was already very tired. "That necklace looked pretty good on you. Why did you give it back?" She stared at me again, her expression complicated. "You really think so?" I was confused. "To be fair, that one does suit you better than the one you're wearing now." Emma looked at me without saying anything. Her eyes seemed to be a little red. Maybe I was too tired and my vision was blurry. I yawned again. "I'm going to sleep first. Kate asked us to go camping tomorrow. Want to go together?" Kate was the owner of a hiking club. She, Emma, and Michael all met through hiking. She'd even tried to set Emma and Michael up. They had a hiking group and would often go on short or long hikes together. The mountain paths were difficult, and sometimes Michael would hold Emma's hand, and Emma would clean his wounds after he fell. Watching it made my veins throb. I had talked to Emma and argued with her about it, but she said frankly that everyone was like that. It was nothing. Fine, I was narrow-minded. I was a chauvinist. After going once or twice, I stopped participating in their activities so I wouldn't get upset. Forget it. Besides, I wasn't interested in camping or anything like that. "Come on." She just opened a new campsite. "She's asking us to come and try it out." As if afraid I would refuse, she added, "It'll be quick, just an afternoon. It won't interfere with your streaming." I yawned for the third time and didn't continue to insist. Okay. The next day, we walked into the campsite, and Michael very naturally took Emma's bag. Emma also acted very relaxed, as if she was used to it. Michael put his arm around her shoulder and led her towards the tent. "Emma, why are you so late? I saved you a spot right next to the fire. I know you get cold. They used to be like this." They acted like no one else was around, chatting and laughing, one sentence after another. It made me seem like an outsider. They often walked side by side in front, while I followed silently behind. I had once tried to change things, actively trying to catch up, wanted to take back the initiative. But they were always talking about things related to the campsite, or funny things that happened between them. There was no room for me to interject. I was always out of place. Now this scene was playing out again in front of my eyes, but I was used to it, completely unfazed. Whatever, let them do what they want. I randomly found a folding chair and sat down. The lighting was very good here. My mood also seemed to be brought out and warmed up by the sun. James. I opened my eyes, surprised to find that Emma had actually walked over to me. Michael next to her was also stunned. His hand was still raised, but he quietly lowered it. "James, let's go together." She stood in front of me, saying it very calmly. I looked at her, then looked at Michael and shook my head. "No need. You guys go. We go." She paused, lowered her voice like she was holding back. "James, are you coming or not?" "No, I—" Before I could finish speaking, she turned around and walked away with big strides, passing Michael. She threw a sentence without turning her head. "Let's go." Ignore him, but Michael didn't move. He slung Emma's bag over his shoulder, raised his eyebrows at me provocatively, and then followed her. I shook my head with a smile and continued to close my eyes, enjoying the rare leisure. After a while, Kate called everyone over for barbecue. I strolled over slowly and found that everyone had deliberately left a seat for me next to Emma. She had a tense face and didn't look at me. Even after I sat down, her gaze didn't move. She held a cup of coffee, occasionally rotating it. "Emma, why do you look so pale?" Michael sat on her other side, took off the jacket he was wearing, and spread it over Emma's legs. "Aren't you on your period? You're wearing so little. Be careful not to catch a cold." Emma lowered her eyes and didn't say a word. Kate bent over, handing out drinks to everyone while glancing at me. All eyes in the area were on me for a moment. Really? Did they think I would react like before, put on a long face on the spot and argue with Michael? I laughed and nodded lightly. "So sweet. I'm so moved. Why don't you two announce it right now?" The air was momentarily silent. Emma seemed to freeze instantly. She suddenly looked up at me, her eyelashes trembling slightly. Michael was also stunned, then shook his head and smiled. "Don't misunderstand. It was just a casual thing." He naturally adjusted the jacket on Emma's legs. "Before, when we did that heavy backpacking trip together, we walked the tortuous road, and Emma's leg cramped. I was the one who massaged it for her, too." He often did this, seemingly understanding and trying to ease the atmosphere. In reality, he was adding fuel to the fire, ruthlessly stepping on my nerves. It was clearly his ambiguous actions, yet he had to proclaim his own uprightness. And every time, he made me lose my composure and curse him in public while he remained calm and collected. However, now his words wouldn't stir up the slightest bit of anger in me. Michael smiled gently. "We're all old acquaintances, James. You definitely wouldn't be so petty about such a small thing, right? Emma frowned slightly. It's not, it's okay. She paused, turning her head towards me in disbelief. I smiled at her, then took the drink and poured it. Of course I'm not petty. Actually, I should thank you. Thank you for taking such good care of my girlfriend. I am ashamed of my own inadequacy. I raised my glass to Michael. Come on, let's drink to you. Michael's smile froze. He was uncharacteristically embarrassed, unsure whether to drink or not. Emma's eyes suddenly turned red. She abruptly stood up. I'm going to buy something. As soon as she took a step, Michael instinctively picked up the fallen jacket and chased after her. Do you want to put this on? No need! Emma waved her hand fiercely, knocking the jacket to the ground, and walked straight out of the tent area. Being rejected so mercilessly in public made Michael's face instantly turn ugly. His face went from pale to red. He picked up the jacket silently and sat back in his seat. Everyone looked at each other. Perhaps they had expected such a scene, but they didn't expect that it would be Michael who was embarrassed this time. Kate coughed lightly and took the initiative to distribute the skewers. Everyone try them. They're all going to get cold. I, who was usually the last to respond, was now the first to take a skewer. I took a bite. It was really delicious. After that camping trip, we started another round of Cold War, but to be precise, it was Emma's one-sided Cold War against me. Recently, when she came home at night, she never stayed in the living room, but went straight to the second bedroom and slammed the door shut. Occasionally, if we bumped into each other, she would also walk away with a cold face. I understood her. She was actually a very proud person. She was waiting for me to go to her, to admit I was wrong, and give her a way out. Before, I would try to guess her thoughts, estimate when she had calmed down, and then try all sorts of ways to coax her, buying flowers and cakes. But now, I had no desire. I felt like this was not a bad thing. My life hadn't been affected at all. I even felt a bit relaxed and could concentrate on doing my own things. The popularity of my live stream had stabilized in the range of a few thousand people, and I had my own fan base. It's already past 12. Who's looking for you so late? I turned my head and saw her gaze on my constantly vibrating phone. Fan group, I answered vaguely with toothpaste foam in my mouth. In the past, she didn't care who I interacted with and never looked at my phone to check up on me. Today she was acting out of character and directly picked up my phone. Momo. Bro, your voice is not so good today. Remember to rest, Momo. Get some rest soon, brother. Emma held the screen up to me, asking word by word, who is this Momo? I glanced at the screen, finished rinsing my mouth and wiped the foam clean, replying, just a normal fan. A fan calls you brother? What's wrong? I looked at her strangely. They all call me that. Emma didn't speak. Just as I took my phone, ready to go back to my room to sleep, she suddenly followed me in. Looking at my confused expression, she spoke with some difficulty. James, can you leave that group? I don't like it when people call you that. I was silent. She had always been proud and had never been so humble in front of me. But I understood her expression, understood her restraint. Once upon a time, I was the same, stomping my pride underfoot, practically begging her. Emma, in the future, can you not interact with Michael? I don't like you being too close to him. Her answer back then was etched in my memory. Now, I looked her directly in the eyes and calmly said, the first time we went hiking, every time Michael went to fetch water, he'd call you along. He called you many times. Many times. Emma. That was also the first time I talked to you, hoping you would keep a distance from him. How did you answer me? Emma suddenly looked up at me, her face growing paler inch by inch. Her lips trembled imperceptibly. I knew she remembered. Back then, facing my plea, she had said disdainfully, I'm very busy. It's rare for me to relax. I don't have time to cater to your emotions. I was immediately provoked and retorted loudly, I'm your boyfriend. Can you change a little bit for me? After a few rounds, the argument escalated, and finally she said, take a look at yourself. Do you even deserve it? My mind went blank. I almost couldn't believe that she had said those words. That was also the first time I cried after we got together. Only when a knife is plunged into your own body do you know the pain. I said calmly, your answer back then is my answer now. I'm very busy too right now. I didn't finish my sentence, leaving it at that. Even so, Emma seemed to have received a great blow and took a step back, as if she was unsteady. Her face was filled with a fragility I had never seen before. She suddenly laughed, a laugh that was worse than crying. Are you taking revenge on me, James? If you think you can make me give in like this, you're dreaming. I looked at her for a while, feeling like I didn't recognize her anymore. Was this person with her weary face and forced ferocity really the person I had loved for so many years? I don't know what you're thinking, but I didn't mean it that way, I answered her calmly. It's getting late. We have work tomorrow. Go to bed early. To my surprise, Emma was actually sitting at the dining table the next morning. Our work schedules were different. I worked a standard 9 to 5 while she was project-based with flexible hours, often waking up close to noon. So we usually only saw each other after I got back from work. Even more surprising to me was that there were sandwiches and milk on the table. She lowered her head, her voice a bit hoarse. Eat breakfast. I knew this was already a huge concession for her. She had to wake up early for me and even prepare breakfast herself, and then wait for me. If it were in the past, this would definitely make me overjoyed, enough to throw any unhappiness out of my mind. Unfortunately, things were different now. I'm sorry. I don't have time. I'll go ahead. Emma looked up, somewhat at a loss. This is what I specifically prepared for you. I was rapidly changing my shoes. Thanks. You eat it yourself. She didn't know I had long lost the habit of eating at home. When she and I first lived together, we also had a sweet time. I usually got up first in the morning, went downstairs to buy breakfast, and then called her to wake up. Sometimes when she stayed in bed, I would kiss her, tease her, and deliberately smear the sandwich sauce on the tip of her nose. I would also laugh at her for peeling the eggs messily and then hand her the eggs I'd peeled. Later, her business trips became more frequent, and gradually it was just me alone in the mornings. I didn't know what it felt like for her to eat breakfast alone at home. I had eaten at home for a week straight then, and never ate breakfast at home again. I closed the door, and through the ever-narrowing crack of the door, I saw Emma's utterly dejected expression. Emma seemed to have changed. She started to contact me proactively during work hours. Her messages would pop up from time to time. Sometimes funny videos, sometimes pictures she had taken. Some even directly asked me when I was going back. This was truly unusual. Before, the intervals between our conversations were always very long. Often, I would ask her something, and she'd reply half a day later. I scrolled upwards. The last time I proactively sent her a message was the day before her birthday. It was already a month ago. When I got home at night, the room was no longer dark. Instead, the lights were on, and the table was full of dishes. I was a little embarrassed, holding the takeout I brought back from the company. Do you still like these dishes? As soon as I sat down, she had already served the rice and handed me the chopsticks. Yeah. The words of refusal ultimately remained unspoken in my throat, and I lowered my head and quickly ate. Were you very busy today? Emma held her chopsticks, poking at the rice in her bowl a few times. So. Then why didn't you reply to my messages? Her voice grew softer and softer. I sent you so many. I felt a mixture of emotions. Once, I had awkwardly asked her the same thing. Emma, are you very busy? Are you that busy? So busy that you can't even reply to a message? But how did she answer me back then? She said, you're just too idle. I put down my chopsticks and calmly said, I'm full. I'm going to start my live stream. She didn't get my answer, and her head drooped even lower. She only said, okay. Emma never asked me if I was busy again, but she still persisted in sending me messages, sharing the little things in her life. I don't know if she's trying to make up for something or what she's trying to do. I don't really care. I didn't deliberately ignore her. And sometimes when I saw a funny joke she sent, I would reply with a, haha. But most of the time, if I didn't think there was anything to say, I didn't reply. However, she seemed to get more and more courageous with each setback, and she was becoming better and better to me. Even knowing I was pressed for time and didn't eat breakfast at home, she still insisted on waking up early. I told her several times that she didn't have to, but she said she did, that it allowed her to see me one more time. She insisted on making breakfast in advance for me to take away. Dinner was the same. Every meal, never letting me bring takeout back from the company again. When I was live streaming, she would quietly bring me sliced fruit. Sometimes she would even add throat-soothing lozenges or milk tea. This made me very uncomfortable, but also made it so I didn't know how to refuse. She also became very attentive to my phone. At first, when she picked up my phone, she was still somewhat embarrassed and would find some excuses. 2 days later, she was picking it up very naturally, without any pretense, thoroughly flipping through every message on my phone. Can you not look at my phone? I said with a headache. The official contacts me and I need to reply in a timely manner. If you look at it often, it will make me miss some information. Emma was stunned, as if burned, and quickly handed the phone back to me. She clenched her fingers, revealing an embarrassed expression, and whispered, I'm sorry. I know, she's a proud person. She never deigned to do something like checking up on someone. She once told me that she looked down on people who were overly guarded about their significant others. She sneered. Men can't be kept by guarding them. Now she had become the person she despised most. She regarded every woman who approached me with the highest vigilance, scrutinizing each of my messages word by word. She must be extremely insecure, and also extremely disappointed in herself. I opened my mouth but had nothing to say, only silence. Sometimes my mind would wander. I would involuntarily think about the past with Emma. Emma and I were university classmates. We were in the same drama club. At a party after a curtain call, amidst the crowd's cheers, I kissed her. She's always been proud and radiant. Even without the spotlight on her, she was always my leading lady. On rainy days, when we shared an umbrella, I would quietly lean towards her side. After she noticed that my shoulder was half wet, she was quiet for a while, and then she hugged me tightly. That was the first time she said, "I love you." Just after graduation, I stated with a grand reason that we could live together to save on rent costs. She kept smiling so much that I was embarrassed. Just when I was scratching my head, ready to change my words, she said with sparkling eyes, "Okay." Over the years, the good times we shared were real. The love was also real, but so was the hurt. I was willing to help her soar, but as she flew, she wavered. We have been dating since college, and counting that, it's also 6 years of time. Michael and her had only been reunited for 2 years. Michael was Emma's senior from high school. I heard that Emma had a crush on him, but due to some circumstances, they never got together. Since their reunion, Michael had also had girlfriends, which further became an excuse for their open and above-board relationship. I had also once wondered, was I mistaken? She was my female lead, but I wasn't necessarily her male lead. Michael, who was equally matched with her in career, appearance, and character, had appeared. A long time ago, perhaps they were the right ones, destined to meet at the peak, while I was just a piece of scenery for Emma at the foot of the mountain. Perhaps it was unwillingness, or perhaps it was deep love. Before, I would rather bend my spine than choose to let go. But there aren't so many forgives in this world. This unwillingness, anger, and pain hadn't passed. I had simply slowly accepted it. Fortunately, as I accepted it, it really passed. I wanted to find an opportunity to talk with Emma. Before, I had been subservient to her, and now she had become cautious around me. This relationship had twisted me before, and now it was twisting her. Perhaps it should have ended a long time ago. Emma must have noticed it. Every time I just started a conversation, she would quickly change the topic or make an excuse to leave, leaving me a bit helpless. That night, there was a live stream online event. Unexpectedly, the person I connected with was my apprentice from many years ago, now a big-time streamer, Tom. On the other end of the screen, Tom laughed teasingly. "Master, after so many years, do you have a wife yet?" Instantly, the comments on the screen became dense. Actually, I intended to just joke around and brush off this kind of personal question. Just as I was about to speak, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Emma put the cut kiwi fruit aside. She lingered for a moment, not immediately walking away like she usually did. She was also waiting for my answer. Maybe she was hoping that I would, like before, boastfully introduce her to everyone. Whenever I joined a new circle, meet my girlfriend, Emma. But this time, I was silent. Amidst her silent anticipation and prodding, I finally spoke softly. "I have had one." Tom's question was actually, "Do you have a girlfriend?" My answer was, "I have had one." Clang! The ceramic bowl holding the kiwi fruit was knocked over onto the table. I'm sorry." Emma lowered her head, frantically putting the scattered fruit pieces back into the bowl, her fingers trembling. "Oh, did I hear a girl's voice?" he joked. "Master, you wouldn't be married and intentionally hiding it, would you?" I also laughed. "Ha, almost." I pulled open a drawer, took out a jewelry box with a ring, and opened it. Inside was a simple white diamond ring. When I just graduated, I used half a year's salary to buy a ring, but I never had the chance to give it. I said to Tom, as if I were telling someone else's story. But first love naturally didn't end up together. This ring, I'll just keep it as a memento for myself. I lowered my eyes and took a sip of water. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that Emma's face was pale, her hands tightly gripping the ceramic bowl, her knuckles white. It was good to take this opportunity to say it. Finally saying it out loud, I felt much lighter. The years of love also had a conclusion. Tom's expression didn't change, and he naturally picked up the conversation. "Oh, so there's a story behind it. Come on, let's team up and play a couple of rounds." The smile on my lips didn't change. "Yeah, it's time to start over." In the reflection of the screen, I saw a figure stagger out. The footsteps were uneven and sounded like she had bumped into a cabinet. She looked completely lost. I put on my headphones, and with the entrance music, I focused on the operation of the mouse, never once looking back. My phone vibrated with a buzz. Emma's name lit up on the screen, but the voice that came through was Kate's. "James, come pick up Emma quickly. Did you two have a fight? Emma drank a lot and has thrown up twice already. She won't listen to anyone." I turned my head to glance at the dark and silent living room and frowned, not caring that it wasn't my usual stream ending time yet. I said goodbye to Tom, picked up my coat, and walked out the door. A trace of regret welled up in my heart. Perhaps I should have chosen a gentler way. This breakup might be too cold. I had imagined Emma's face flushed from drunkenness. I had also imagined she might be a mess with tears all over her face, but I didn't expect that in the dim light of the bar. On the booth sofa, she would be nestled in Michael's arms. Kate, who had led me in, abruptly stopped in her tracks, embarrassed, and didn't dare look at my eyes. My gaze fell on her moist lips and then swept over her slightly red cheeks hidden in her hair. She was like a wet white bird, curled up in a ball. Only I used to be the one who sheltered her from the rain. But now I had become her rain. Michael had his arm around her. His face turned sideways, his gaze through his gold-rimmed glasses gentle. This scene, if it were before, would probably have been enough to drive me crazy. Perhaps my eyes would have been red, unable to stop myself from grabbing a bottle and smashing it at Michael. But now I only feel relieved. I even think that if they really ended up together, it wouldn't be so bad. The last trace of reluctance and attachment in my heart has also vanished into thin air. At this moment, Emma's vacant, teary eyes landed on me, instantly becoming focused. Across a distance of 5 or 6 meters in the soft music, our eyes met. I smiled at her, nodded, and turned to leave. No, wait. "James! James!" Behind me came the sounds of chairs bumping and exclamations. I was unmoved, walking out without looking back. The next moment, my wrist was seized tightly, and when I turned back, it was Michael. His lips were pressed into a thin line, as if suppressing anger. "You wait for a moment. Didn't you see Emma fall?" I pulled my hand out calmly, saying, "Then I'll trouble you to take care of her." "What are you pretending for? She's been calling your name. She's so sad because of you, yet you don't even want to wait for her. What kind of boyfriend are you?" "Well, I'm not one anymore." Without being provoked into any anger, I calmly patted his shoulder. "When I said I'm leaving her to you, I meant it literally. How things go for you two in the future has nothing to do with me." If I had still felt a bit of annoyance and resentment during the camping trip, at this moment I truly had no grudges. Michael let go of my hand in disbelief. "You, James." In that instant, Emma, leaning on the sofa, stood in front of me. I don't know how much she heard. Her shoulders were trembling slightly. She had a scrape on her elbow, and up close, I could see her eyes were clearly red and swollen, as if she had been crying for a long time. She barely stood straight, tidied her hair, and with difficulty lifted the corners of her mouth. "James, you're here to take me home." I remember this sentence very clearly. A long time ago, when she had just worked for half a year. Once she had to attend a work function, and got so drunk she couldn't even stand up straight. I went to pick her up, both shocked and angry. She was sitting on the steps in front of the restaurant, head lowered. Hearing my footsteps, she looked up and said to me, "James, you're here to take me home." It was one of her few soft and vulnerable moments. At the time, I felt so much tenderness and pity. I gently hugged her and draped my jacket over her. But now there was none of that heart-wrenching tenderness, only indifference. I looked at her seriously. "Emma, we broke up." She ignored me, took another step closer, and hugged my arm. "I want to eat ice jelly. Will you take me to eat some?" I was silent. James. She shook my arm, acting spoiled. "Give me a smile. Why are you being so fierce to me?" At this moment, she was very much like that girl from the drama club, bright and pure. But I was no longer the James I was back then. I slowly pulled my arm away, bent down, and met her eyes. "You heard it too. I really didn't want to marry you, but feelings change. Now that it has come to this, can we say goodbye properly?" Emma stared blankly at me, tears welling up in her eyes. "No, I can't." She shook her head, wiped the corner of her eye, and repeated it louder. "I can't!" Emma had always been proud, rarely showing such direct emotions and childishness. Kate on the side looked distressed, as if wanting to say something to persuade her. But in the end, she couldn't open her mouth. "Sorry. This time, regardless of whether you agree or not, we are ending it here," I said decisively. I took one last look at her. ignored her repeated calls of James, James, and strode out of the bar. Since it had come to this, it was no longer appropriate to live together. That night, when I got back, I began packing my things. The next morning, I dragged my suitcase and left the home we had shared for 2 years. I cleaned the house one last time, hesitated for a moment, but didn't leave any note. Since we were going to break up, it was better to make a clean break. Finding a new place wouldn't be quick, so I checked into a hotel first. Unexpectedly, Emma knocked on my hotel room door that very night. "How did you find me here?" Emma smiled self-deprecatingly. "I have your location on my phone. It's a function on a dating app we registered on a long time ago. I had completely forgotten about that. You want to invite me in for a sit-down?" Emma brushed the hair from her ear, her gaze lowered slightly, falling on the doorknob. I know her well. Although she masked it well so that ordinary people might not see anything amiss, I could see through her embarrassment at a glance. She was feeling awkward. In the middle of the night, she knocked on my door, taking the initiative to ask me if she could come in and sit for a while. Everyone was an adult. The implication was self-evident. I said softly, "I thought I made it clear yesterday. We're already—" "I know." Emma lowered her eyes in a bit of panic, then after a moment raised her gaze to look at me, as if summoning her courage. "Can you give me another chance?" She grabbed my hand, placed it on her shoulder, then slowly slid it down. "Just give me another chance, please." Her hand was trembling, her expression a mix of pain and determination. I understood her struggle. The pride in her bones was telling her to turn and leave. She was simultaneously castigating herself for sinking to the level of using her body to try and salvage a man, while at the same time feeling utterly desperate with no other recourse. I grasped her hand in return, stopping her movements. "Emma, you can't do this to yourself." I gave her a light hug. "Tonight, I'll pretend you were never here." Her body instantly stiffened. "Don't do something you'll regret. You're Emma. Don't become someone you look down on either." Her eyes reddened in an instant, tears trickling down her face one by one. She suddenly hugged me tightly. "I'm sorry, James, I'm sorry," she choked out. "I know it's my fault. It's because I was too cold to you, because I didn't know how to cherish you. It's my fault for not having boundaries with Michael. It's because I didn't handle things well. James, I truly know I was wrong. Please." I slowly but firmly pushed her away, looking steadily into her reddened eyes, and smiled. The Emma I know wouldn't beg for love. I pulled out a tissue and handed it to her. "You just need some time, Emma. I actually understand how you feel right now because I've been just as desperate before." I smiled again. "But tomorrow morning, you'll probably regret everything and want to stab the you from last night. Even if there is no love, you still need to maintain your dignity and leave us with some respect and memories. So tonight, I haven't seen Emma. The Emma I remember will always be that radiant girl from the drama club. She used to be my leading lady, and we shared a long, companionable time. It's just that my leading lady is now going to start her next story, and I also have my own path to walk. It's time for us to part ways." Emma burst into tears. I had never seen her cry so hard before. We stood face to face, close enough to embrace, but something had already irrevocably changed. After a long while, she slowly raised her eyes to look at me and gave a very faint smile. "Thank you, James. In the future, you shouldn't be so gentle with girls." Her smile deepened a bit as tears welled up in the corners of her eyes, especially when breaking up. "I'm afraid she'll never forget you for the rest of her life." I was stunned for a moment, then shook my head and laughed. This time, I watched her leave. She was like a fading youthful dream, and a brand new future was slowly unfolding before me.